Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I want to talk about a video that I just watched from the YouTuber Iowa Retro Gamer Dad. He was talking about the physical media and how it's vanishing off the shelves. And I know he's talked about this before, and so have I've done videos on this before, and I just think it's an interesting topic to keep kind of bringing back and seeing how the progression is and where we are. Now, what he talked about in his video was how he, kind of went to the Walmart and went to the video game section, and there was hardly anything there. A lot of stuff is starting to essentially just disappear, go on. It's like everything is becoming digital downloads and all that stuff, which may or may not be a good thing, depending on how you want to look at it. Now, for people like me who actually love the physical media and prefer the physical media, I mean, obviously I'm going to look at it like this is not a good thing. I remember going into stores, and I even left a comment on his video about how I used to love going into places like Toys R Us and, looking at all the different games that they had. And there was Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games, or even some Atari games back when the Atari Junior came out. Seeing the Atari games back on the shelf again. All that stuff. There was even in television games you could still buy at that time. And, I used to love that. I used to love grabbing the box, flipping them over, looking at the game, reading about it, all that type of stuff. Obviously a lot of that is gone away. A lot of the games now are, Switch games that you see in a showcase, and sometimes they're locked up. You have to look at the little spine thing to even see what it is. Other stores, maybe they put it out on the shelves depending on the type of store you're in. But they even some of the stuff you're looking at, there's not even a physical game in there. It's just a clamshell or something with a digital code in there. Now, the problem with the digital codes or the digital games in general, and what a lot of people like to bring up, is that these are not games that you technically own. You get the right to download the game and put it onto a piece of hardware, and that's it. Once that hardware dies, that game dies with it. Now, people will argue and say, well, no, you can go back to the site and re-download it. And that's true for a period of time. That game is going to have to live on that host's server for a very long time. And, with physical media, you never have to worry about that. I never have to worry about my Dragon Warrior here disappearing unless I get rid of it. I can say I don't want this anymore. Sure, you can argue at the other flip of the coin here and say, well, this is hardware, this can die. Yes, it's circuit boards, it's got a battery in there. Some of that can be fixed, you could replace a battery. But the physical media, once that's poofed off the server, you're done. You can't get that game back. I know because I downloaded some stuff on my Wii, which, I've recently disconnected because I have the Switch now and I just wasn't playing on my Wii, but regardless, I had a few games that I've purchased off the Wii store, and or whatever it is, the eShop, the Nintendo store, and they're stuck on that Wii, and I can, if I bought a new Wii, those games won't be there, and I can't go back and ask Nintendo to put it back on my new Wii, if, for instance. And if that Wii dies, I'm out of luck. Not that I'm really saddened by this, but because it was like a Castlevania type of game, and I think the original Super Mario 2 that was not the Doki Doki Panic one, you know what I'm talking about. But, regardless, my point is, for me, it wasn't such a big deal, but for the generation today, where everything is pretty much being downloaded, that's going to become a problem in the future, where servers are just going to eventually shut down, and they're going to be gone. The other thing is, and the Iowa Retro Gamer Dad brought this up, is space. Now, with cartridges, you could have a whole wall of cartridges. I could have all these Nintendo games and, put them somewhere. But on a hard drive, you're limited to what the hard drive can do for you. And if your hard drive starts running out of space, if you're putting all these massive games on there, like for my Switch, for instance, I downloaded a few games. Most of them I didn't. I bought them. Even with this one, this is the latest Zelda game, the Tears of the Kingdom. Funny enough, hasn't even been opened yet. It's still in the seal. Bought this for my daughter because she wanted it, but she hasn't had time to play it. But she specifically wanted the physical one because I offered to download it for her when she was really interested when the game first came out. I said I can just download it, and there you go. But she didn't want it that way. She wanted the actual physical media, which was interesting that she actually cared about that type of thing. I figured this younger generation probably doesn't care, and maybe that is true amongst most of them. They might not care if they get a little cartridge or not. I guess to her it was something physical that she could actually have and take out of the system and put in a new game, just the way we did it in the past with cartridges. Now, of course, on the flip side, with cartridges, it's not a perfect system either. If there was a bug in the game, you were screwed. And Iowa Retro Gamer Dad talked about that. There's a game on the Atari 7800, Impossible Mission, where it literally is impossible to complete it. Well, at least the North American version, anyways. They had a bug in the game. I don't know the history of why it happened or how it happened, but apparently you cannot complete the game. And I've tried. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I can't get any further. And apparently it was a bug where an item gets hidden in a spot you're not allowed to search. And so it obviously got corrected at some point, and I believe the PAL edition, so Europe's version, works. And there's been somebody who went in and fixed the problem and then made a cartridge called Possible Mission. Now this is all after the fact. Point is, mine will never work, and I'm stuck with that, and that's fine. I mean, that will happen, but what are you gonna do? I mean, it's part of how physical media works. It's like when you buy an album, you buy CDs and stuff. I got a CD here. I prefer that what I get on that CD is what I get, and that's what I'm going to have. Regardless of if the band decides to make another song or improve upon its work, I got that CD, and if I want to, I could buy another one. And it's something I can have physical in my collection. Of course, we do run into problems with players, and if we have the ability to play said CD, which can also be an issue with cartridges. I mean, we're now limited to the technology that cartridge fits on. However, there are alternatives that are coming out, which is quite interesting. And I talked about this when I did the video on the Atari 2600 Plus that's coming out. The fact that that Atari is on board with creating a physical device that's capable of playing physical cartridges. Now, where are these cartridges going to be sold? Obviously, it's not going to be a big enough initiative that you're going to go into a Walmart and you're going to see Atari cartridges. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that the interest is going to be that big that we'll be able to go into a store one day and see Atari cartridges. But we do have the benefit of online. And now we can go on to the store on the Atari Age store or on Atari, its own store, or I guess they're going to be the same at some point, and buy these physical cartridges. We also have gaming events we can go to. My games that I have, the Fast Food and Keystone Cops for the Intellivision. You can't go into a store and buy these, but you can go to conventions or you can go to the online store and buy them. And you could also buy the digital copy. Now the other thing, I guess that also pops up, and is another, I guess you can almost go into a full-on video on, is the price differences. And the fact that the cost to download this Zelda game is the same as me buying the physical copy of it. And a lot of people are kind of questioning on that. What is going on here? It takes manufacturing. They need plastic. They need the sealer. They need the insert. They need, even though they're getting less and less and more cheaply made and there's hardly anything in here. I bet you if I just open this up, it's just a little cartridge. But it's still bringing plastic and circuitry into this whole ordeal. that does require transportation, sending it off to the stores, putting it on the shelves, making the UPC stuff work. Whereas a download doesn't have any of that. You could have thousands and thousands and thousands of downloads versus thousands and thousands and thousands of these, which I could see costing a lot more money. So what's the deal there? Obviously, I know there's reasons behind it. They're not going to say simply, this is going to be $80, but the download's going to be $40. That's kind of not going to pass, and they're going to lose money. I get it. So how do you kind of rectify this? I was even thinking with my own, like for Keystone Cops, to buy this, you're paying around 60 something American to get this because it's handmade. It's not manufactured on a mass scale. It's not mass produced. So it's done through, handmade type of ordeal. And you could download this game on the Intellivision Collector website for $15. So there's a difference there in, the ROM itself versus the physical media, the price versus, something that's physical versus something that's digital. So I think that's where we're kind of at this Passover here. I'm sure I can go on about this for an hour, but I don't want to keep this video too long. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about other areas of how this affects it. And I'd like to hear what you have to say. I want you to throw your comments down below. I'm going to leave a link to Iowa Retro Gamer Dad's video if you want to check that out. He brings up a lot of great points that I was always thinking myself. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.